Hello folks, welcome to another video. Now today I want to talk about the HP ProDesk 400G2. You'll see in the previous videos that we've done there, we discussed the HP ProDesk 400G1 and we've put some decent graphics cards in those. Those two builds we did, the white box and the black box, the G1, they've both been snapped up by happy gamers now within 2 or 3 days. So I've ran out of 400G2s and I'm looking at G1s. Thank you, Bernie. And I'm looking into the ProDesk G2. Now you'll see the previous video I discussed that they're back to front, they're upside down. I can't show you the comparison between the G1 and the G2 because we haven't got any more left. So we're going to be building a G2 and I'm looking at the thermals. To put a graphics card in there, I bought another one. Go on, Bernie, do the honours, eh? I bought this on eBay. I can't remember what make it was, and I can't remember how much it was. But I think it was about 45 quid, I think, about $60, I think. 53 euros, I guess. This came yesterday. What we got, Bernie? It's an ASUS Radeon R9 280, the Direct CU, 3 gigs on board. I've got no idea whether this card is going to fit in that case.
What's on the box? Is it in the box?
Ah.
As Nigel would say.
Things.
Oh, goodies. What have we got? The usual driver disc, which we don't bother with because we get the up-to-date drivers off the interweb. Not an SLI bridge, like Nigel said in the last video, because it's an AMD graphics card, it's a Crossfire bridge.
Oh, I stand corrected, Bernie. Is there any little connector in there? Power connector? No.
No.
Alright. There it is. The ASUS R9 280 Direct CU. Let's have a look at the front, the top of it. Let's have a tour of the card, Bernie. All right, so we've got what's our power situation like?
6-pin and an 8-pin.
Yep. And our outputs?
We have DisplayPort, HDMI, 2 DVIs. Okay,
good. So that's what's going in. Let's have a look inside the G2. Right, the HP ProDesk 400 G2. This is an upside down build. So this is the bottom, that's the top, and the graphics card sits above the CPU cooler. Whereas on traditional builds, the graphics card sits below the CPU cooler. So, oh, this has already got a drive in here, Burns. We must have done a partial build on this at some point because I noticed it's got a build number on the front. Right, now the other problem with this, to put that graphics card in, this power supply will not be any good. But it's not a simple case of swapping over power supplies because this power supply in this box has got a little 2-pin connector onto the DVD drive, a little proprietary thing. Now I'm not sure whether we can get those, so for now, for just testing purposes, we're going to won't be able to connect up the DVD player, and we're just going to replace the power supply with we picked power supply off of our stock of used power supplies. So this is a 500 watt, not sure the make yet. So we've got a 8-pin adapter which came in with the previous R9 280 and a 6-pin, so that gives us our 8-pin and 6-pin connectors. What is it, Burns? This is a
power supply.
It's
an 80 plus.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, dear. It is an Enhance 80 plus 500 watt. So that is going to replace that HP. Let's do it.
Well, I don't know. I might just get away with it, but
I've just partially offered it up, Bernie.
Yes. Okay.
And it is a ridiculously big card for the case. It looks like the it's so long, but it's just so coincidence really that the 8-pin and the 6-pin happen to fall in line with this hole where normally a hard drive would go. So we're going to really have to do a bit of strategic thinking to get that in.
Just had a thought.
Yeah.
One of the other cards you've ordered, the 290,
Yeah.
has got 3 fans on it, so
Yeah.
that's going to be even longer. Bit dusty, isn't it?
Right.
Cleaned it.
Yeah. It's not
Not manky, but you know, it's.
yeah. We're not cable managing on this build. This is just a build for to test thermals and demonstration purposes, really. So we put the power supply in, roughly, temporarily. We've got a lot of spaghetti hanging out. So in this sort of case, you'd really want to put a modular power supply in, or at least semi-modular. The 24-pin motherboard card is underneath, going to have to go underneath the graphics card here. Whether we can even get the graphics card in, we're just about to find out. No? Is it too big?
It's too big, man.
What's in the way?
Everything.
You'd have to take the heatsink off to get it in.
Yeah, everything.
Let's take the heatsink off. Well, I mean,
You and your bright ideas.
it's a good educational video, Bernie, this is.
Oh, yeah,
Let's take the heatsink off and we'll have another go. Right, we're having another go putting the card in. We've had to take the heatsink off top of the CPU because of the angle of the dangle.
Oh, that bracket's in the way.
Oh, steady on, Burns. Oh, hang on. Don't force it. This is hitting this one. It's hitting this bracket here.
And this one. Told you it wouldn't fit.
Hang on. Don't.
No,
It's stuck now.
It's stuck.
Right, there's been a bit of an incident. We've got the graphics card stuck. It's stuck. It's stuck on here.
I do have a saying for it, but it's not to be repeated on this channel.
Oh dear, it's jammed in. Oh, Bernie.
It just involves elephants and rabbits, but I'm just leaving it as that.
Right, I'm going to get my sticky fingers in it. Right, power supply is going to have to come out because it's just too damn big. Why are we doing this?
Because it was your suggestion.
Entertainment purposes only, it looks like now. We'll get it in there.
You ordered the wrong card for the machine.
Ah, we'll get it in there, Burns. We're just doing things in the wrong order.
You didn't check the dimensions of the card before you ordered it then, did you?
No.
Test before commit.
Yes, you're right. Test. The Daniel rule, test before commit. Okay. No, other way. That's it. All the way that way. On the bottom.
No, that bracket's in the way.
Here we go. It did go in. That was the most ridiculous thing I've tried to do, fitting that card. The card is so big, there's no room here. I had to bend that bracket back there a bit, Bernie, just to make it fit in there. The jumper on the board, I actually had to fold that down because it's so tight against the motherboard underneath that it simply wouldn't fit. So, it's in. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. If you can get a close-up of this, Bernie, the distance between the graphics card fan and the power supply fan. Is that in focus? Let's get a bit of light on there. There we go. So it's this distance here. What's that? 2 inches? 50 mil, maybe 55 mil. I want to, because the graphics card will be pulling air downwards, the power supply will be pulling air upwards, and I want to see what the thermals are like. I've managed to get all the connectors in here. You look at over here, Bernie, look how close this is here. Luckily, this cutout here for a hard drive has allowed me to put the power pins onto the graphics card. So we're going to fire it up. I've got our test Frankenrig drive in here, and we'll see what happens. Right, we're plugged in. We're ready to go. Ready? Stand clear. Take 2. Oh, it's on. It's on.
Fan's going.
What is it? It's off.
Oh, it's on again.
F10. It's on again. Right, now, did I put that jumper back on the right pins? Because I'm not going to be able to get to it now. Oh! Oh, we got a screen. Oh, we got a screen. Good. Phew. System information. Right, an i5 4590S. Let's have a quick zoom on that. Here you go, the HP ProDesk 400 G2 running an i5 4590S at 3 gigs. And we've got 8 gigs of DDR3 running at 1600 megs. Alright, we'll boot into Windows if we can. This has got our Frankenrig test build on this, so hopefully can you remember what card was on here last, Burns? AMD or Nvidia? Got to be AMD, hasn't it?
Oh, it might be, yes. We didn't do a proper graphics driver wipe on it, so it might have both.
I've loaded AMD Radeon 19.4.1 Adrenaline drivers on there. It's recognised it. So we're going to run some benchmarks. Right, one of the reasons for this video is to see about thermals and whether the graphics card pulling air down is going to conflict with the power supply pulling air up. Now, this particular case does not have an external fan on it. That could be a problem. There also is no place in the front for a fan either. So thermals are going to be seriously compromised here. Probably not doing the wise thing. Running Heaven. Benchmark. Graphics card is currently sitting at 69, 70. This is the overclock version. We're expecting around about the same as the Sapphire DualX R9 280 3 gigs, and that was 80. That was using the same the same Intel chip, an R5 4590S or the R5 4570. There's been an incident.
There we go. You've killed the card, Nigel.
Well, the card is... well, it got halfway through the benchmark and it stopped. There's a problem. The problem is I don't think the power supply is man enough. The temperature's getting up to about 76 degrees. Now, looking at the other R9 280 OC, that also got up to 76 degrees. But the system's shutting down on a benchmark. So I think the power supply is not good enough, because that's a 500 watt in there, and it does say on the side of the box that a 750 watt power supply is required for this card, which I think is ridiculous. You're still there, are you? You've got through the first 15 minutes of this video. That means you must be enjoying it. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Leave some comments in the section below. Check out our Facebook page. There it is right there. Now, the reason I started doing this video, I wasn't going to do it, but I had a comment from Mark, one of my regular YouTube watchers, subscribers, and customer at Project Reboot. He says, I have been really happy with my 400 G2 i5 4590S. I put an SSD power supply and a GTX 1060 in it, and it runs like a dream. Don't hesitate to buy from these guys, they are great. Well, thank you, Mark, much appreciated. That's good to know. I might be doing a vid on the G2 and how the thermals work with an upside down GPU. Thanks for watching, indeed. Now then he says, I was worried about the cooling, but it's absolutely fine. I have had no issues with it at all. I didn't need to add additional fans or anything. Thank you again for supplying it and all your advice. Well, Mark, we appreciate that. That's caused me to make this video. And to have this absolute disaster going on in this box, I've got to survive somehow through this. So now we're going to put a different power supply in, see if it fires up and actually get through a benchmark. Decide whether it's the card that's broken or the power supply isn't up to it. I'm going to put in the Corsair RM650. It's the highest wattage we've got in the workshop. Found it on our spare shelf as well. This has got 54 amps on that 12 volt, so that should be ample. The other good thing about this power supply it is modular. Should have used that to start with. It's getting worse. The 650 Corsair is too big. It's in, but it won't. It's too long, so the catch on the bottom won't clip on. There's no. I can't, all the screw holes are different. I can't actually get a screw in anywhere in there. It's completely inappropriate. Everything about this build is saying don't do it. I had to put all these things on first because there's not enough space here to get down in there and put them all on. Everything is saying don't do it. You know, my persistence is just making me feel like something bad is going to happen here. It is running, it is in. Do some benchmarks, eh? Alright, I'm running Heaven for the second time on the new power supply. Hopefully it won't crash this time. Benchmark running, and the RM650 isn't even spinning up the fan. Now, according to the interweb, that only spins up when it approaches sort of 260 or something like that watts, and we're not getting there, or the fan's knackered. The GPU fans are having a nice thrash at the moment. Oh, it got up to 79. It's up to 76 degrees C. It's on the final scene. Hasn't yet crashed. 77. I think it's going to do it. Okay, we have a result. '71. Score of 1793. So the ASUS Direct CU R9 280 slots in at 71.2. It did get up to 80 degrees C. And that's without the side panel on. The side panel is so close. It's just not worth the risk, I don't think. I'm going to conclude this video here because the truth is I've wasted a whole day on that. I've wasted 25 minutes of your time as well. Sorry about that. But there we are. That's the way it goes. That was quite an interesting video. If you're into thermals in a case, my advice to you is, despite what Mark says, and if he's happy with it, great. I wouldn't recommend putting anything into a 400 G2 because it's upside down. There's no airflow at all. So thanks for watching. See you next time.